Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Today is part 2 of the hatchling rack build. This is the biggest build I've done and it holds a total of 48 tubs. If you missed part 1 of the build, I'll put a link in the description below so you can get caught up. Towards the end of the part 1 video, there is what seems to be another rack. Well, in actuality, the two racks are two halves of a whole. The one on the floor is going to be the top half, and the one on the rolling base is the bottom half. The top half was built in the same manner as the bottom half, except it doesn't have a bottom. That's because it will go on top of the bottom half, so the top of the bottom half will serve as the bottom of the top half. Did I confuse you? That's okay, you'll understand as we get further along. So what I've done here is flip the camera to give you a better view. The bottom half is now on the left, and I flipped it upside down. In order to unite the halves together, I'm going to use dowels. Dowels are basically cylindrical pieces of wood that help join two surfaces. To install them, I have to drill holes to accept the dowels. Here I'm just using a piece of paper to make a template so that all the holes line up. This is nothing fancy or difficult, just fold the paper and mark the target. I'm just eyeballing the target. All I have to do is make sure that I'm not aligned with any of the screws and that it is in the center and relative to the thickness of the material. Label one edge the front so you don't accidentally invert the template. I first start off with a small drill bit and work my way up to a larger one. You'll want to make sure to drill perpendicular to the surface and not at an angle where the dowel will sit crooked. If you're having a hard time getting all the holes the same depth, you can put a piece of tape on the drill bit to indicate when to stop. Each dowel requires 2 holes, and that's because the dowels get inserted halfway into each hole. Now that this side is ready for one dowel, I'll just repeat the process on the other side for another dowel. Dowels can be purchased at the home improvement store, but in my case I decided to make my own. And chopsticks are great as a raw material. Please guys, no Asian jokes, not like I haven't heard enough. Anyway, they get inserted into the holes that were just drilled. I've already made the first dowel. To get the length of the dowel, just add up the depth of the 2 holes. You can also measure the drill bit that you used from tip to where you mark the tape, then multiply by 2 to get the total length. Now to make a second one of the same length, I'm just scoring the raw material with the utility knife all around. Then it's just a matter of snapping it off. When the top half rack is flipped on top of the bottom half rack, the dowel is sandwiched in between. The dowels act as a guide when joining 2 surfaces together. They also lock them in place, preventing lateral movement. Once the top half is on top, just line up the holes in the dowels. It should slide right in. Now that the 2 halves are positioned correctly, it's time to glue them in place so they stay together forever. The glue that I'm using is Otay's heavy duty clear PVC cement that I got from Home Depot. And I'm going to be applying the glue with an over-the-shelf syringe that can be purchased from a pharmacy store. To create space for the glue, I have to first separate the top half and the bottom half, and I'm going to do that with a couple spacers. You can use shims, but in my case, I'm just using a couple paint stirrers. I first pick up one side of the top rack, giving myself just enough space to slide in a spacer. I do that to both sides. I then draw the glue into the syringe and wipe off any excess around the tip of the syringe. Now it's time to apply the glue. Simply follow the seam that is created by the spacer and slowly squeeze out the glue. Apply an even strip of glue. A little goes a long way. I only used about 0.8 milliliters on one side. That's less than a teaspoon. Then simply pull out the spacer and let the top half drop down. The dowel will ensure it lands in the correct place. So here's the finished product. To install the center dividers, back, and heating elements, just check out part 1 of this series. This is going to hold 48 hatchling tubs. I hope I don't run out of space this year, but if I do, I'll have an excuse to build another rack. All I need now is to insert new tubs, add paper towels as my substrate of choice, small bowls with fresh water, and it's ready for hatchlings. I'm expecting approximately 42 hatchlings this year, and I should be rehoming some throughout the season. If you're interested in any of the hatchlings you see on my channel, feel free to contact me at lucaslandonroyals@gmail.com. My email will be posted in the description below. Well, that's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you know anyone that may be interested in what I do, feel free to share. To be informed of future videos, make sure you're subscribed and ring that notification bell, and I'll see you guys next time.